Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. This was the Raw in the wake of WWE Fastlane, and I gotta say, I found it to be a very enjoyable show. Some solid matches. We got some more build to WrestleMania. All around, a pretty nice 3 hours, more or less. Ashton, what'd you think of it?
If I had to give this show a grade on a scale of 1 to 10, it would be like a 6.5. But on that same note, I'm only saying that because the first half of this show was like an 8 out of 10, and then the second half was like a 5 out of 10. So you even those numbers out, and you get a 6.5.
Sounds good to me, man. With that said, I got nothing more to say, so let's get right into our first segment, right out of the box. Heat of the night. And I'm going to say right now, I just had one nitpick. I want to get it out very quickly. JBL's commentary again. Tonight, it was the idea that Michael Cole was trying to tell a story about how the primetime players, got back together, which is, I think, a story that any casual fan would, want to hear because maybe they remember Titus turning on Darren. And JBL was all like, no, Michael, we're watching a fight now. They're fighting. And I don't know, that just annoys me being somebody, we've talked about this so many times. Commentators are supposed to tell stories, they're supposed to relay things to the audience. I thought Michael Cole was trying to do that job, and it ticks me off that JBL got in the way. So I just wanted to air that out very quickly. That's my only nitpick.
And I find it so funny that you're making this a nitpick when I guarantee you there's a good chunk of people out there that were on JBL's side, because they were the people that said, no. Commentary isn't all about telling stories, it's also about calling matches, and that's what JBL wanted to do, and Michael Cole was preventing them from being able to do that.
Right.
So there are definitely two sides to that coin. I don't know if I really even prefer one or the other, but I see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, so, look, that's my only nitpick. I didn't want to make a big production of it, so do you have any heats tonight?
You know what, dude? We have a no diva rule. But if I had to pick any kind of a heat of the night, it would involve them, and it wouldn't even be about any of the divas in particular. It would be that our Divas segment tonight, we got Paige's entrance, and then a 3 to 4 minute commercial, and then a 2 to 3 minute Sting package, and they completely skipped Emma's entrance, and then we got the Bella Twins entrance, and then the match was 30 seconds. So out of like 8 minutes worth of TV, you had more time in there for commercials, a Sting package, and entrances than to give these women an opportunity to show what they can do in the ring. That is a huge problem in my eyes. And personally, that was when this show turned downwards and it started to get worse, and I started to kind of check out a little bit on this show.
I certainly don't blame you. The treatment of these women tonight was appalling. You have your WWE Divas champion in there. You have, who was the number one contender at least last night in Paige. And I'm a big fan of Emma, so there's going to be some bias there because they've treated her like she's some kind of moron ever since she stepped foot in there. And
you know what the worst thing is, too, is like you said about how you have your Divas champion in there. She didn't even get into the match.
Right.
Like, whether you like Nikki Bella or not, whether you are a Nikki Bella fan or not, these women are being so poorly treated. And it's such an awful dichotomy because, on one hand, they're being treated like jokes. They get more time for entrances, and they dedicate more time of their segments to things that don't actually involve them than they get in the ring. But on the other hand, they're probably still getting paid more than the NXT women, so it's almost like a selfish thing to say when you say they should just go to NXT.
Yeah, definitely, because, you have to think about why they're doing this to begin with. It is a livelihood, meaning, they have to do this, to keep their life, their standard of living afloat.
Right.
So it's a weird trade-off, and it's one that I'm sad to see exists. when, this would be a case where we'd love to have our cake and eat it too. This is a very disappointing segment. It just goes to show, like, who really cares about what's going to shake out with the Divas Championship at WrestleMania, when even Ashton said, in our preview predictions for Fastlane, it's probably just going to be a multi-women's match. It's just really a shame when you compare it to NXT, the state of the WWE women's division. But, I mean, we've been saying that forever now. Nothing really new to add to that commentary for me. It's just really sad.
And that's another thing. I'm starting to kind of get annoyed at all the people complaining, oh, they're not divas, they're women. I get that diva seems like a degrading term, but at the end of the day, the WWE can't copyright the word women. They can copyright the word diva, though, and that's what they did, and they're running with it.
Absolutely. Nothing more to really say than that.
All right. So if you want to get into the review, now would be a good time.
All right, let us roll right on to our Monday Night Raw review, and we open up with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton, man, he cuts right to the chase.
He even crapped all over the trend that we've been having for the last few months of opening Raw with a 25-minute to 30-minute promo.
Exactly. He says, I'm not going to do any of that. I've been out of action for 4 months. He says, look, if you've been living under a rock, here's why I've been out of action for that long. He shows us the footage of Seth Rollins taking him out all that time ago, so he kind of resets the scene, which I think is very nice. Crowd is really behind Orton here, and, he's just saying, look, I'm not going to waste any more time. Seth Rollins, get your ass out here right now. He doesn't get Seth Rollins. He gets the Authority.
And the Authority's just like, Randy, you need to understand the opening segment of Raw needs to go 20 minutes, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, here Orton wanted to give us an action-packed start, and we see Triple H, Stephanie, Kane, and Big Show all come out. And Stephanie, kind of plays parent, and she says, look, this Randy Orton that we're seeing, the Randy Orton, the Viper, all that stuff, that's the Randy Orton that's the face of the WWE. And you left us no choice 4 months ago. We had to do what we did. But, you can come back. Come home, Randy. And then Randy tells Stephanie, look, you shove it. I'm not part of this family. It's all about your golden boy, Seth Rollins, and I'm not forgiving him. I want my pound of flesh, more or less. And Stephanie, again, she's still trying to reason with Randy. Like, look, I'm just telling you to calm down. Think this through. You join the Authority. Think about all the power, the privilege you'll get. Hell, even Big Show tries to chime in and says, hey, Randy, look, joining the Authority was the best personal decision I ever made. Think about what you're doing. Come back and join us. We'll be unstoppable. And then Randy says, by come back, you mean selling out. So it really seems like he's going to be very resistant. Finally, Stephanie just lays her cards on the table, says, hey, let's have a business meeting, all of us. We're putting it out there. And then Randy just kind of has his arms folded, doesn't say anything. So the Authority, I think, takes it as a rejection. They leave, and as they're midway up the ramp, Randy says, wait, that business meeting, I'll be there. So very interesting turn. Randy Orton's not this seething, kind of going Rambo on the Authority, so to speak. It seems like he's trying to approach this with a certain sense of rationale. So we know we're going to have a business meeting with Randy Orton and, the Authority here tonight.
Yeah.
Great segment, though. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the energy. You and I have been missing Randy Orton, something fierce. So it's great to see him back in his element. Do you have anything you want to say before we get into our next segment?
I just love the sort of ruthless, spontaneous, unpredictable, I hate everyone and their mother Randy Orton. So tonight was a little bit downtrodden for me because we got Randy Orton back and then he immediately turned into the Randy Orton that I don't think anybody wants to see anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it is kind of a shame, but this won't be the last time we talk about Randy Orton. We'll get more into that later.
He was kind of the star of the show tonight.
He was. He really was. But,
and rightfully so, because if you really kind of put your ear to the ground, I think he got more of a reaction than just about anyone.
Oh, definitely. I think the fans really missed Randy Orton, and I can't wait to see what he does, now that he's back and where all this is going to unfold. But
that said, though, I mean, to me, what's really great is that we start this out. There was only a 15-minute promo, which is great. They cut down on it. 15 minutes is significantly more digestible than 25 or 30. But then we immediately go into not only a match, but a match that we haven't seen in a while, so it's a match that feels fresh. It's BNB versus Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, it's a non-title match. Plus, we have Truth on commentary, and they get a little bit of Twitter fan interaction going on at the same time. So this match accomplished a lot.
It really did, and all revolving around the Intercontinental Championship, which for a lot of people, calling for that belt to return to some kind of modicum of prominence, had to be very happy about it. Barrett and Ziggler had a nice back-and-forth matchup. It was what you would have expected from these two guys. It had a great pace, high energy. They got their offense in. I mean, and Ziggler just sells like a beast. I love how he sold like the winds of change at one point.
I don't know if it's fair to call this match high energy, though, when every time Ziggler would get a little bit of an advantage, Barrett would roll out of the ring.
That is true. Barrett, pulling the heel tactics, creating that distance. All the while, I thought Truth was enjoyable on commentary. It's interesting to see him kind of get in a spot like this, seeing as how on the last SmackDown he did beat Barrett in a non-title match.
Dude, I love R-Truth. Like, the whole give R-Truth a chance thing, I totally tweeted that. And, oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted you guys to know. I kind of started a little bit tonight, but I think that going forward I'm going to be live tweeting Raw. Just kind of, testing the waters, stick my toe in a little bit, see how it is. I did it tonight. I was interacting with a bunch of different people. Nobody that I know of that's a TWitWoW fan, but interacting with a few people, trying to kind of get the conversation going. And I will be continuing to live tweet Raw next week. So if anybody wants to kind of join in on that conversation, be sure follow me at apond404. That's APON as in Nancy D404. And yeah, we can have a conversation during Raw. I was talking to Gordon Maston was one of the guys. I like talking to him. He's a good dude. We were talking about how much better the women and the divas in WWE deserve, and how it would be almost better if they would send the main roster women down to NXT rather than the other way around, because in NXT they would actually get respect. So definitely join me next week for live tweeting Raw. But other than that, as far as tweeting goes, the whole give R-Truth a chance thing I love, and I loved R-Truth's one line here. He said, "If you kick my dog, I'm going to kick your kiss at."
Yeah.
He's so ridiculous. And another one, yeah, and I did it without stealing. How you doing, Booker?
So, it's nice to see Truth in this kind of a spot. And it's nice to see this, the Intercontinental title get this kind of shine. But all the while, that's going on. Barrett does miss a shoulder thrust into the corner. He eats steel post. Ziggler gets the zigzag, and he gets the victory. Not long after that, Dean Ambrose's music hits. He comes out with the Intercontinental Championship. It's interesting to note that before Barrett even had this match, he referred to Ambrose as a common thief, and he kind of cut a promo, bemoaning the fact that he didn't even have his championship with him. So, Ambrose comes out with it after the fact, and he, gets in the ring. He gets in Barrett's face. Barrett's like, "I want my title. Give me my title back." And, just playing about all that. And then Ambrose just kind of...
so awkward, though, because, Ambrose is up in Barrett's face. Right. Barrett's just laying there taking it. He's supposed to be this badass bare-knuckle fighter. He looks like the ultimate beta in this situation.
He really does. Barrett has just been very weirdly booked since his return in terms of his win-loss ratio.
Is he being punished for something?
I don't know. Maybe they're taking him to task for getting injured and taking that long to return, when he did. I don't know.
I don't know, man, but that is just so weird.
But, then Ambrose, kind of bumped shoulders with Ziggler, kind of showing that tension there after Ziggler was checking out the Intercontinental title.
Which was great.
Which was great. I wish Truth would have gotten in the ring, too, though, instead of staying, in the commentary position, kind of away from all this tension. But, yeah, it definitely does seem like we're on the road to a fatal four-way for the IC title at Mania, and I can so get behind that. I think that'd be a great idea, especially if they got a respectable amount of time. So I really believe that's where it's going. Ziggler gets the win. I don't know how certain Dolph Ziggler fans will feel about him getting yet another IC championship opportunity. It seems like he's just really a permanent fixture in that picture. But, better this than the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I will say that right now. So, there was that. Ashton, do you have anything else you want to say about this before we go on to our next segment?
Well, I agree with you. I like that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal isn't kind of absorbing the Intercontinental Championship into it this year. That's really cool. And actually, from what I understand, the U.S. title as well, because we got... my Raw request was fulfilled later on in the night, and we got our third confirmed WrestleMania match. So we'll talk about that later. But for now, yes, I'm just glad that both mid-card titles are actually being featured in their own matches where the titles are being defended at WrestleMania. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think this already makes WrestleMania 31 quite a favorable WrestleMania for me, seeing the mid-card get that kind of respect. But
John, Daniel Bryan's not going to be in the main event, so it's going to suck.
Obviously. But yeah, we'll get to him later as well. But for now,